As many of you know, the U.S. has withdrawn from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty and now plans to deploy intermediate range missiles to at least 3 countries, including Japan and Australia. China's warning that this will be a bad move and will respond with countermeasures if the U.S. doesn't retreat. RT's Ashley Banks is joining us live in studio with more to this story. Ashley?
That's right, Manila. Another fight between the U.S. and China is heating up. This time it's over missiles. The U.S. has officially withdrawn from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, also known as the INF, and now plans to place weapons across the Asia-Pacific. Washington says one of its main reasons for leaving the treaty is because Russia violated the treaty by developing banned weapons.
We're getting a sobering new update on the threat posed by Vladimir Putin's military buildup. Our Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr spoke with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff earlier in the day. Barbara, what did he tell you?
Well, Wolf, tonight, the #1 general in the U.S. military increasingly concerned about both Russian and Chinese military buildups. A U.S. B-52 bomber caught on a Russian aircraft camera over the Baltic Sea. Moscow claims a Russian fighter jet forced the Americans to back off, something adamantly denied by the U.S. Air Force, which said the Russian aircraft did not chase the B-52 away. It's all part of the new front line between Moscow and Washington over superpower dominance. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says Russia is working on new missiles, ships, and aircraft aimed at making it harder for the U.S. to defend Europe, a plan, he says, that is so far succeeding.
There's absolutely no question that it'd be more difficult for us to project power in Europe today.
General Joseph Dunford says the U.S. can still defend Europe, and the Pentagon is funding new U.S. weapons to push back. But he has an unusually blunt warning about Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We're talking about Putin putting together information operations, cyber operations, economic coercion, political influence, unconventional military operations to advance his objectives.
Yesterday evening here on the news with Rick Sanchez, we broke the story that the Iranians and the Russian navies are planning exercises in the Strait of Hormuz later this year. These exercises have the potential of massively curtailing U.S. naval power in the region, and it's designed, in part, according to the Iranians, as a way to send a signal to Washington and to London, by the way, that Iran and Russia, with the encouragement of China, have just as much right to be in those waters as anybody else.
Russia is using its words and its actions to send a warning to the U.S. tonight. Moscow has sent a warship to Cuba and says the U.S. weapons buildup in Europe could spark a repeat of one of the most dangerous conflicts of the Cold War.
A powerful demonstration of American military might over Eastern Europe. We're in the cockpit of a U.S. Air Force B-52, refueling over Romania. The 2 aircraft just feet apart. NBC News giving exclusive access to this delicate operation.
Definitely physically intensive hand flying this jet.
The U.S. sending 6 nuclear-capable B-52 bombers here from Louisiana.
We want the folks around the world to understand this is a capability that we have.
As the sun sets over the Mediterranean, our 14-hour flight nears Syria and a Russian airbase there. President Putin's spokesman says the deployment breeds more tension, but it's Russia's aggressive tactics that have been making many of the headlines. Russian jets buzzing not only U.S. Navy ships, but flying inches from U.S. fighter jets. And in the dark,
got 2 aircraft, one at about 1, one at about 2.
Our crews spot unidentified jets, possibly Russian.
Definitely got buzzed by some sort of aircraft.
America displaying its massive military power and getting attention.
This is the largest deployment of B-52s in Europe since the Iraq War. The message to Russia couldn't be clearer.